Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone. The Quran speaks of the party of God in contrast to the party of Satan. How can we know whether a person belongs to the party of God or the party of Satan? Do the members of each group possess all the characteristics of their leaders? I'm Hassan Moradi, and in this video from the channel Echoes from the Quran, I want to answer these questions. According to the Quran, humanity is divided into two groups, the party of God and the party of Satan. Members of the party of God are those who love God, His messenger, and the believers, and this group is always victorious. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَإِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ Al-Ma'idah 56. This is God's written decree. He and His messenger will certainly prevail. For God is powerful and mighty. كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَأَغْلِبَنَّ أَنَا وَرُسُلِي إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَوِيٌّ عَزِيزٌ Al-Mujadilah 21. Why do those in the party of God love God, His messenger, and the believers? Because God has inscribed faith upon the tablets of their hearts with His own existential pen. أُولَٰئِكَ كَتَبَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْإِيمَانَ. Why is the party of God always victorious? Because they are supported by a spirit from Him. وَأَيَّدَهُمْ بِرُوحٍ مِّنْهُ. The result of belonging to the party of God is that in the hereafter they will enter gardens beneath which rivers flow, abiding therein forever. وَيُدْخِلُهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. God is pleased with them, and they are pleased with Him. رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ Al-Mujadilah 22. Reaching a state where God is pleased with a person is extremely difficult, because God has breathed something to Himself into the human beings and expects the human to bear His color and imprint. Likewise, reaching a state where the human is pleased with God requires ascending to the higher levels of the soul and acquiring a divine hue that allows one to understand God's actions and be content with them. Quran illustrates this in the story of Moses meeting the man endowed with mercy and knowledge from God, known in commentaries as Khizr. Even though Moses was a prophet, he could not content with Khizr's actions because he did not know their inner interpretation. Thus, those who reach the level where God is pleased with them and they are pleased with God belong to the party of God and will surely attain success. أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ Al-Mujadilah 22. Let's go to the party of Satan. Members of the party of Satan are those whose inner being has been filled by Satan, who has taken control over them and caused them to forget the remembrance of God. Such people are the party of Satan, and Quran states that the party of Satan is the one that suffers loss. استحوذ عليهم الشيطان. Satan has gained mastery over them. استحوذ عليهم فأنساهم ذكر الله, and made them forget the remembrance of God. أولئك حزب الشيطان. They are the party of Satan. ألا إن حزب الشيطان هم الخاسرون. Indeed, the party of Satan is the loser. Al-Mujadilah 19. A loser is someone who loses the principal capital with which he began his trade. He gains no profit and loses his initial investment. The human being begins earthly life with two things, a body and a soul. The body is a tool in service of the soul and must be used in the marketplace of life for the soul's perfection. The soul is a trust from God that must be returned intact. If the soul becomes buried under the dust of worldly desires and illusions, it cannot see the light or love God. Such a person cannot ascend toward the light of the heavens and the earth, nor reach his true station as God's vicegerent on earth. He has drowned himself and, like Jonah, becomes trapped in the darkness of the veil of the body and the sea of the sensory existence. A key question is, how does a human being who possesses a divine spirit fall under Satan's control? The main cause seems to be becoming absorbed in the game of the world and forgetting one's vicegerency. If a person constantly remembers God and his divine role, his inner being remains full of unity, leaving no empty space for Satan to enter. The Quran attributes forgetfulness of God to Satan. فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ Yusuf 42. Although humans naturally remember God because of the divine spirit within them, Satan misleads them away from this remembrance. لقد أضلني عن الذكر بعد إذ جاءني. He becomes their guardian instead of God, yet abandons them in their time of need. وكان الشيطان للإنسان خذولا. Qur'an 29. The Quran even attributes ordinary forgetfulness to Satan. فَإِنِّي نَسِيتُ الْهُوتَ. I forgot the fish. وَمَا أَنْسَانِيهُ إِلَّا الشَّيْطَانُ أَنْ أَذْكُرَهُ. And none made me forget except Satan. Al-Kahf 63. Forgetfulness caused by Satan leads to loss, which is why Satan is a clear enemy to humanity. إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. Yusuf 5. Thus the Quran commands إن الشيطان لكم عدو. Indeed, Satan is an enemy to you. فاتخذوه عدوا. So take him as an enemy. إنما يدعو حزبه ليكونوا من أصحاب السعير. Al-Fatir 6. Satan is not only the enemy of ordinary people, even prophets had enemies from among human and jinn devils who inspired one another with embellished speech. Zukhruf al-Qawl. In summary, members of the party of God remember God because He has written faith in their hearts and support them with a spirit from Himself. Those deprived of this become vulnerable to Satan's influence and join his party. The state of the heart, whether pure or impure, spacious or narrow, open or closed, soft or hard, depends on one's thoughts and actions. A heart that knows God, remembers Him, and loves Him belongs to the party of God. A heart that does not love God and does not remember Him belongs to the party of Satan. The party of God consists of people of light. Satan is the opposite of God and is of the nature of darkness and ignorance. The Quran defines Satan as one who rebels against the most merciful. This rebellion, whether in a jinn or human, makes that being a Satan. In contrast, angels represents pure obedience. God's work is based on mercy. Satan's work is based on wrath, ghazab. A sudden question arises. Does Satan first gain control over a person, causing him to forget God, or does the person first forget God, allowing Satan to gain control? The answer: first the remembrance of God, weakness, then Satan becomes a companion, then he gains mastery. وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّزْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. Al-Zukhruf 36. The word يَعْشُ literally means low vision. This means that for this person, remembrance becomes pale and unimportant. As soon as a person's heart is gradually emptied of the remembrance of God, a devil approaches him to gradually penetrate this empty heart. The Quran describes this gradual penetration with the word waswasa, because the literal meaning of waswasa is a small, quiet sound that is repeated. In other words, this gradual infiltration is described as waswasa, a soft, repeated sound. Every human being should remember that Satan is the cause of Adam and Eve's fall and expulsion from paradise. Al-Baqarah 36. The Quran uses the beautiful expression فَدَّلَّاهُمَا بِقُرُورٍ. Al-A'raf 22. He threw them down by thriki. Qurur, thrik. The root of the word dallahuma, dal, lam, wav, originally means to lower a bucket into a well. That is, just as bucket slowly descends into the well, he slowly led Adam and Eve down toward their descent and expulsion. The Quran recounts how Satan caused Adam and Eve to sleep and be expelled from paradise, lowering them gradually through deception, just as a bucket is lowered slowly into a well. Knowing Satan's tricks helps us identify those who belong to his party. Satan can agitate humans, cause them to sleep, make false promises, command indecence, frighten his followers, beautify evil deeds, mislead from guidance, and sow discord. One of Satan's key tactics is causing a person to whisper to himself, leading to sorrow. But he cannot harm believers without God's permission, so they rely on God.
إنما النجوى من الشيطان ليحزن الذين آمنوا وليس بضارهم شيئا إلا بإذن الله وعلى الله وليتوكل المؤمنون. Al-Mujadilah 10. Why is self-whispering satanic? Because in such moments a person is alone with himself and God is absent from his calculations. Because in such moment a person retreats into themselves and the place of God becomes empty. If a human being does not take God into account while making their calculations, they usually cannot find peace. The reason is that the number of unknowns and variables in the equations of this world is so vast that no human can consider them all and arrive at a successful solution. Ignoring God during worldly calculations is very forgetfulness of God, mentioned in the other verses related to Satan, where he is described as the cause of this forgetfulness. For this reason, believers appoint God as their trusty wakil when dealing with the complex calculations of life. This does not mean that believers are lazy. Rather, it means that a believer thinks and acts to the extent of their ability, but when they encounter matters beyond human capacity, they entrust those matters to God so that He may accomplish. Rather, it means that a believer thinks and acts to the extent of their ability, but when they encounter matters beyond human capacity, they entrust those matters to God so that He may accomplish what lies beyond human power. The final point in our discussion is very profound. In video 1, I explained the meaning of the religion of Islam. In the Quranic sense, Islam means surrendering to the truth, and the truth is the light of the heavens and the earth. Therefore, all human beings should be one community with one religion.
And the Lord of all people is God, whose commands they must observe. But unfortunately, due to ignorance and the limitations of human understanding, people fragmented this single reality into pieces and pages, and each groups become pleased with the fragment of truth that they possess. وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاتَّقُونَ Al-Mu'minun 52. Indeed, this community of yours is one community, and I am your Lord, so be mindful of me. فَتَقَطَّعُوا أَمْرَهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ زُبُرًا كُلُّ حِزْبٍ بِمَا لَدَيْهِمْ فَرِحُونَ. But they divided their affairs among themselves into separated writings, each group rejoicing in what they have. Al-Mu'minun 53. Those who deviate from this religion and from the straight path wander into scattered ways, becoming divided into factions, and each faction rejoices in what they believe. من الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا كل حزب بما لديهم فرحون. Ar-Rum 32. The fact that groups become divided and each faction is pleased with what it possesses means that they are unaware of their own shortcomings. For example, a child with a limited understanding of the world is happy with a few toys simply because he is unaware of the many of other toys he does not have. This unawareness and heedlessness form the basis of worldly life. Every human being is satisfied with what he has according to the level of his understanding. A person is not satisfied with what he has, he becomes troubled and distressed. This sorrow is both good and bad. Good because it leads to growth, and bad because if it concerns worldly matter, it can never be fully resolved. No human beings can attain all his desire in this world. The human being is inherently paradoxical. His soul is infinite, while his body is finite. Therefore, the finite body can never fully satisfy the infinite soul. The only path to inner peace is for the soul to realize that the material world and worldly life are both limited and temporary, and that it cannot pursue infinite desires within a finite realm. The soul's infinite longings must be directed toward non-material world and non-material realities. The only group of people who have not deviated from the straight path are the party of God. God is the guardian and protector of this group, and the straight path is the path that leads toward Him. Surat Mustaqim. This group does not see itself as inwardly or truly separate from others. External differences among human beings, differences in appearance, language, mess, or beliefs, do not mislead them into thinking the people must also be different in their inner reality. They see all human beings and all creatures as limited manifestations of the infinite truth. Only this group is able to perceive the truth in its unified and all-encompassing form. For this reason, the primary characteristic of the members of this group is the same as the primary characteristic of God, being merciful and compassionate. Just as they do not see the organs of their own body as separate from one another, they do not see the members of human society, the animal world and the plant world, or even the mineral world as separate from one another. May the day come when all human beings join the party of God. May the day come when the foundation of our lives is mercy. May the day come when the foundation of our world is peace. Thank you for your companionship.